All right, so let's now implement the last missing functionality in our game, which is the high scores. And to really understand how the high score should work in this game, let's take a look at the demo again. So let's reload the game and let's start here. And so you see that the score starts at 19. So let's try a couple of times, do a low score. Okay, so correct number, the score is 10, and the high score is now also set to 10, because this was my first game, and so now this is also my new high score. But now as I play again, my score is of course resetted to 20, but now if I do a better score than this 10 here, then that will become my new high score. Okay, and that is going to happen as soon as I win the game. So let's play again. And wish for a quick result. And great. So now my score is 17. And since that is more than the 10 that I had before, that is now also my high score. Okay? Again, because the current score is larger than the previous high score. And so that is now the new high score. Okay? All right. And so basically what we just saw here is now what we need to implement. First off, we're going to need a variable for the high score, right? So just like for the regular score, we also need to store the high score in a variable. So let high score, and let's start this one at 0. This way, the first score is always going to be the high score because it's always going to be greater than 0. Okay. So where do you think we should check for the high score? So basically, if the current score is greater than the high score. Well, remember that here the high score was set as soon as the player won the game. And so where is that in our code? Well, it's here in this if block. Okay, and so this is where we will check. And the check that we will do, as I explained previously, is to ask whether the score is greater than the current high score, right? And if it is, so if our score of the current game is greater than the high score that we already had, well, then the high score will become this new current score, right? So high score equal score, and that's it. Now all we have to do is to display that new high score here in this element. And actually, of course, in our version of the game. So right here. So let's check the class name. And it is called the high score here. So just this span. So document.query selector. And don't remember, you should always write all of this here by hand to really put it into your brain. So document.query selector and high score. And I have a problem writing score apparently. So text content, and this will be set to high score. Okay, and that's it. This is the translation of the logic that I just explained earlier. So we need to have a high score variable so that we can keep track of it. And then whenever our game finishes, we check if the current score is greater than the high score. And if it is, that will become the new high score. And so we set our high score variable to the current score here. Okay. Let's just, to make sure, reload it here. And then let's play. Too high. Correct. Oh, and now we have a very high score because we did it in our second guess. Let me actually reload this page here. So I want a really low high score. So let's try it again. So I clicked a couple of times to decrease the current score. Oh, and now we have a score of 14. And you see the new high score is now 14 because it used to be 0, but of course 14 is greater, and so 14 becomes our new high score. Okay, and now as I click again, everything will reset except for the high score. So that was the goal of having this button here, so that we can play the game again, but keeping the high score. Because of course, if we reload the whole page, then everything will be lost. So the whole code will then run again, and everything will reset. But here, we now keep our high score, right? So let's play again and try to get a better score here. So that's too low. $17 maybe, and yeah, now we get an even better score because, of course, 18 is even greater than 17. One last time, now with a lower score, just to see that it will then not become the new high score. So we always need to test for all the scenarios that we implemented in the code, just to make sure that everything works. Oh, 15 again. And so you see that the score was now 12, but the high score, of course, remained at 18, because this part here is now not true, right? Okay, so we implemented that as well, and now our game is actually functional. It works just fine, and you can show this now to a friend and tell them that you built this on your own with the power of JavaScript. So how great is that? So again, congratulations for making it to this point and for building really your first game using code. Now, it's not really a sophisticated game, but I still think it's a great achievement. Now, in the next video, we will finish up and clean this code a little bit. For example, this code here that we have in this scenario where the guess is too high is almost the same as we have here. And so we can change that a little bit to eliminate some of this duplicate code. There's also some other duplicate code that we can get rid of. And so, yeah, let's do that in the next lecture, because it's also important to really finish up our applications and not just make them work.